and welcome to SVGTV News for Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018. I'm Vesta Boynes with the details. The Police High Command has said they are strongly against citizens taking the law into their own hands in acts of vigilante justice. This was made clear today by Deputy Commissioner of Police Frankie Joseph in the wake of recent reports that residents in the North Leeward area had beaten a man who was wanted by the police. Simeon Francois, who was wanted in relation to alleged abduction, rape and indecent assault of a minor, was apparently nabbed and beaten by residents in North Leeward. Joseph said the police force has a good working relationship with the public, but took the opportunity to remind citizens that a person is innocent until proven guilty.
In the event that that person is in a particular community and the residents can make that arrest or can restrain that person, we are encouraging the general public to use only the force that is absolutely necessary to restrain that person and call the police. Or if they have transportation, to take that person to the police. Because we are not going to encourage and we are not going to tolerate vigilante justice, because every single person is presumed, once they have committed an offense, it is alleged that a person have committed an offense, they are presumed innocent until proven guilty.
The Deputy Police Commissioner said the police is the only body charged with conducting criminal investigations and that vigilante acts hamper their ability to solve crimes.
Proving or disproving the innocence of any individual does not lie with any community. That must be determined in a court of law. Right. So we are in no way, shape or form, because in investigating one offense, we do not want that we have to investigate a fatal offense and having that false offense unsolved. Because we are the only investigative arm in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we are responsible for investigating every single offense.
Joseph said SVG is still a Christian law-abiding country and encouraged the public to build on its good relationship with the police.
This force is in no way, shape or form encouraging persons to commit crimes, and we are in no way, shape or form supporting anyone to commit any crime. So it is, I'm just want to take this opportunity to say to the general public, let us continue to build on the very good relationship that we have out there, but please do not take matters into your own hands, because this is a Christian society. This is a very lawful society. We are governed by laws in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and it is not something that we, the police, would encourage and support.
The weather is said to have been the main contributing factor in the premature end of the annual Fisherman's Day activities at the Kaliakwa playing field yesterday. The fisherfolk had returned to land, had their catch weighed, and was awaiting the climax of the month-long activities to mark the 42nd Fisherman's Day celebrations. However, rain deluged on the playing field and washed out the proceedings. Officials from the Fisheries Division on Monday said the prize-giving ceremony will take place on Friday 25th May at the conference room of the Fisheries Division starting at 1 p.m. This is the second consecutive year that the prize-giving ceremony was being postponed. The disaster at sea led to the postponement of last year's closing ceremony. The government of SVG is considering the importation of sand for use in the construction sector. However, at a news conference today, Minister of Transport and Works Julian Francis did not say how soon they will cease the mining of sand from beaches and begin importing. In recent times, environmental groups and individuals have been pressing for the government to discontinue mining from the beaches, pointing to its damaging effects on the coastal environment. Francis said SVG is the only nation in the Caribbean that continues to mine sand from beaches.
Imported sand, as I said before, is expensive. And one of the other problems that was faced, why I think that we closed off the importation of sand, was the heavy losses that were incurred by the government then, because at that time the government imported the sand. I am trying to avoid, and we have taken a decision not to have government itself involved in the importation of sand, but to offer it to the private sector. We'll have persons submitting their proposals to import sand, not to be sold to the government. The government will buy its own supply from them, but to be sold by the individual companies or individuals who are importing the sand. Discussions I have had in and around, we already have 2 interested parties.
3 years ago, the government banned the mining of sand from Brighton Bay, and truckers transferred to Diamond, which the Transport and Works Minister also said poses a problem. The minister is advising that persons take advantage of the sand which is currently being mined at Rabaca.
We mine at Diamond about 48,000 cubic yards, about 4,000 cubic yards of sand per month. In addition to that, the next popular sand that is used is a sifted sand at Rabaca. I want to reiterate the need for us to utilize the product that we are producing at Rabaca. Objection that tradesmen and builders and homeowners have to utilize in Rabaca is that we are not getting a fine enough sand for plastering. But yet, there is other sand available at Rabaca for making concrete. The prices out there are still low compared to manufactured sand in the other islands.
Francis added that there will be further investment at the Rabaca location when beach mining is discontinued.
With 25,000 cubic yards of sifted sand being done at Rabaca and 50,000 cubic yards of sand being mined from the beach at Diamond, we are talking a significant increase if we are to go to Rabaca to fill the demand. Rabaca, therefore, to take that on, will not have the capacity right now to sift an additional 50 cubic yards, 50,000 cubic yards per year with the existing machinery, not the wash sand, the sifted sand.
The Forestry Department is encouraging members of the public not to interfere with manikou and iguana as they search for food. Forestry officer responsible for law compliance, Bradford Latham, told SVG-TV News that at this time of the year, the iguana and manikou would be with young, and people would see them from time to time near communities.
Now, at this particular time in the year, the females that have been impregnated will be carrying a lot of small young ones within their pouch and developing. They will be moving much slower than the males and looking for food at nights. They are nocturnal species, and even in daytime they will be seen in search of food. We are asking the general public, especially the hunters, to leave these animals alone, allow them to develop while these animals are out in search of food.
The forestry officer said the department is thinking of shortening the hunting season for these creatures as persons continue to report that hunters are catching iguanas and manikou with young ones or with eggs.
From the experience of hunters, they also expressed that, interestingly, that there's a need for us to shorten the hunting season for the conservation and the better protection of these species. and this is something that the department is considering with regards to the better conservation of these wildlife species, shortening the city by at least a month, so for the species to be able to replenish itself, and the intercepting these species with young ones in their pouch, and also with iguanas that are laden with eggs. And during the dry period, give these animals a fighting chance to develop and replenish the population of these species for another open season.
Lathan took the opportunity to point out what is illegal hunting and the penalties involved.
Found during the close season, hunting. Now hunting is unique. If you're just searching for this animal, or you met throwing a stone or anything, any missile at this animal, you'll be deemed illegally hunting, and you'll be charged. We charge up to $2,000, and you can also spend up to a year in prison for this offense.
A great deal of attention is being paid to the protection of one of SVG's endemic lizard species known as the gonatoid dondini. The dondini lizard is found only on Union Island. Cornelius Richards, Senior Forestry Supervisor, told SVG-TV News that the department has put in place the SVG Clawed Gecko Conservation Plan as part of efforts to conserve this and other endemic species, and he highlighted some of the program's components.
These steps involve the mapping of the habitat, identifying critical areas within that area where it resides, carrying out a biological survey, which is one way of research, public education, putting in place a monitoring program to take care of to monitor against offences, and to certainly clamp down on the international trade of the species. It is being caught in its natural habitat and traded internationally. So we have been working on various parts of this plan, because we do not yet have a full funding for the entire plan. So currently we have on staff 2 rangers that work primarily in the area. They have been they've been trained and equipped to carry out their duties. In addition to that, we have already started, we are continuing our public education program. Sometime last year we were on Island, where we conducted a community-wide public outreach program, sensitizing persons as to the importance of the species, the importance of the species and its habitat to people of Union Island, and by extension humanity, because this species is unique to the world.
Richard said that since its implementation, the program has achieved some success protecting the dondini and some other endemic species.
We have been particularly effective in monitoring the habitat, and we have been particularly effective at identifying offences. We are now developing that dexterity, so to speak, in monitoring and dealing with offences. In fact, last year we had a situation where an individual was brought before the court, and he was charged for having in his possession other species, in this case snakes, Congo snakes, that were directly associated with that habitat area. We have since then again stopped certain operations, for example, small mining operation that is taking place within that area. The whole idea is until we know sufficient about the species, it must be protected in its natural habitat, similar to other species, the St. Vincent parrot, the whistling warbler. We have many endemic species on the island, and so we are moving in that direction.
The forestry supervisor said the department is partnering with local and international stakeholders in its conservation efforts and is looking forward to the enactment of legislation to further strengthen their protection efforts.
And locally here in St. Vincent, we have the St. Vincent Preservation Trust, which is a new and upcoming conservation body, primarily set up to deal with supporting conservation efforts at a national level. So, in a nutshell, we consider the program has taken off significantly from when we first started last year, and it is our intention to continue to strengthen this program. Of course, we now need additional support by way of policy to make sure that the wildlife remains protected in its natural habitat, strengthening of legislation to include particularly this species, because we have a Wildlife Protection Act, and under that act there's a schedule of all the listed species, and of course the Dudani currently is not listed under the schedule, so it's now being revised, and pretty soon that and other species will also be on the protected species list. So
Women have been challenged to seek leadership positions in political parties and become the change they wish to see in society. Dr. Christina Hines threw out these challenges as she addressed the audience at the New Democratic Party's Women's Convention on Saturday at the party's headquarters. The Barbadian University lecturer said women deserve the opportunity to be a part of the overall decision-making process within political parties and the country.
We must refuse to cook and clean if we do not wish to in the political space, or if the men are not sharing equal burden. Amen. We must contest elections, not only for the secretary or public relations officer, but for the president, for the vice president, secretary, general secretary, and the perceived power positions. We must tell men that they cannot speak on our behalf. Our tongues are not broken, and when we speak, we must speak as women. It is okay to create a little noise, discomfort, confusion. It is okay to be a little emotional.
Dr. Hines also called for an examination of the culture within women's arms of political parties and encouraged the NDP to create an environment of inclusiveness.
Let us look at the culture of our women's arms, because we have to first make ourselves strong. We have to first create an inclusive space, even before we ask the wider party to include us. Politics is about networking and power. Call out your regional connections. It can no longer be women who don't want women most. For the handful of us who get the still too rare opportunity to serve our countries at the national level, we are demanded to do something different for a different result. So I want the National Democratic Party and this Women's League, even as you move towards 2020, to go around this Caribbean region and call out the female politicians to see who stands with you. It is an important exercise, because if you understand the power of politics, that is what politics has to become for us as women.
Now for SVG-TV's Carnival Beat. Welcome to Carnival Beat. Depicted as a feeder system for the main Vincimas activities, rural carnivals have over the years seen a tremendous growth. So much so that the Carnival Development Corporation's Rural Coordinator Ellsworth Ezzy Roberts is anticipating even greater rural showcases for Vincimas 2018. In a recent interview with SVG-TV's Nikita Tony, Roberts said the 8 participating communities have seen it fit this year to enhance their product.
About a carnival where there's no rural carnival activities as a build-up. You just wake up Friday morning and realize, hey, carnival starts today, Friday, and next week, Tuesday. It would be basically a very cool carnival. So the rural carnivals are the ones that really create the steam. They are North Leeward, Central Leeward, South Leeward. We also have Windward Carnival, Pitani, St. George's. Those are the 6 on the main, and then we have Beckway and we have Canawan. This year, of course, we lend them support through the radio stations and televisions and so on, television station that we have arrangement with that caters for advertising and marketing of rural carnival activities. So they're making their arrangements and their plans. This year, however, I must say that the they have stepped up big time. Rurals taking their ads to radio stations much earlier than they would have done in previous years, and I think that they're moving in the right direction. So this will certainly help to drive more persons to these activities.
Roberts deemed the rural events to be of benefit to the communities, especially with respect to economic gains.
Throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines, journey to different destinations for rural carnival activities, bringing their funds and whatever else to spend and generate economic activity within the different communities. So I think it benefits the communities and it benefits the nation generally. Operation of rural carnivals, we find persons get into these songs, they get the opportunity to hear the songs or they get the opportunity to see artists perform. It also creates that opportunity for persons to expose new and hidden talent from the rural communities, because a lot of times you go to these rural activities and you are seeing and hearing artists for the first time.
The CDC's rural coordinator encouraged persons to support the upcoming rural carnival activities, including those in the Grenadines.
Sometimes we have persons going to the Grenadines in large numbers, and I am seeing that rural carnival in the Grenadines, they are creating that opportunity for persons to do likewise. Beckway, for example, they had an excellent carnival over the years, and I'm sure this year will be even better than we would have seen before. One, for example, as well, you have an excellent carnival, and this also affords persons the opportunity to go to the Grenadines, spend the weekend, and be a part of the carnival activities down there. During the day, you can enjoy the rest of Carnival and go to the beaches, etc., support the local bars and restaurants. Let us start doing some marketing of rural carnivals in the Grenadines. Help us to spread the word. Get your friends and family to go down to the Grenadines to enjoy carnival in the Grenadines.
Oya Carnival is back for yet another year. On Saturday, the Oya Sports and Cultural Organization launched the carnival activities with a motorcade from Georgetown to Fancy and back to Oya, during which the 6 contestants who will be vying for the title of Miss Oscar 2018 were introduced to the public.
I am here this evening to invite you to come out on the 25th of May as 6 beautiful young ladies vie for the prestigious title of Miss Oscar 2018. Be there. I am Shania Brown.
Standing before you is no other than your contestant number 2, Josine Nave. Proudly represented Miss Eldorado Creek.
Revelers, are you ready?
A pleasant evening, carnival lovers. Welcome to the official launch of Oscar Carnival 2K18. I am 18-year-old Brittany Baptiste, proudly representing an exotic coconut drink, Malibu.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, well wishers. Standing before you, bold and firm, filled with confidence and potential, is none other than 18-year-old Larissa Gerald, your contestant number 4. You think Miss SVG hot? Wait until you see what I've got.
A pleasant evening to everyone. I am Jolicia Hoyt, proudly sponsored by New Flavor Songs. I am representing the exotic and smooth drink syrup.
Beautiful, talented, full of excitement. That's me, 18-year-old Toniqua Pierre, proudly representing Johnny Walker Black.
Oya Carnival will take place this weekend with the Miss Oscar pageant on Friday night, May 25th at the Oya Government School grounds, followed by Juve on Saturday morning and a street jump up on Saturday afternoon. The Oya Carnival is endorsed by the Carnival Development Corporation with the High Room Brewery Limited and Flow as the main sponsors. OSCO, a community-based organization, has been behind the staging of Carnival in Oya for the past 4 years.
Alright.